Hello fellow creatives. Let me hope we are all doing well, great, and fine basically. And now in this third video we are going to be starting off with our project. That is the only videos that you need to like get started with Photoshop, whether you're editing photos, whether you're editing anything. So I'm basically using Photoshop 2022. Okay, so you let me guess, you're using maybe something that is maybe not this version. You may be using a lower version that is like 2006 or any latest version by now. So what you have to do is you come here, then click new. So whenever we are like starting our design, we have to look for certain things. Okay, so when we are designing, you have to have a page that you are going to be designing on. So it is you who chooses the color. So we have to look at it as a paper. Let's say it is a paper that you're going to be designing on. So that is what we are going to be creating. But before you create it, remember you have to like first give it a name. So we are going to be walking through the different ideas, and I'm going to be trying to explain them to you so that you grasp them. Okay, so our first start here is after clicking file, then we click on new. There are even some shortcuts that you may go around with. So if we come here and click new, as you see that, or if you don't use that option, let us press close. So if you don't use that option, there is also another option whereby you can click Ctrl N to open. So you use these other options like open if at all you already have a project that was designed. Maybe you stopped on the way and now you're like, I want to do what? I want to like continue editing, okay, from that project where you had stopped. So but for now, because we are just starting up something new, what we have to do is to come to file, then come to new, then click that, or you can use a Ctrl N. Then from there, if I'm to explain this is recent, so those are like projects you have happened to work on. So the last project I worked on, I used this size. So you have saved. So if at all you saved any template, it would show up from here. Then photo. So let's say we are working on sorry. So let's say we are working on a certain photo. Okay, so we are working on a photo, but it is to be printed. Okay, so we come here, we can choose from here. So printing, so when we are designing, they are different, because I already made a video trying to explain this. When we are like designing, we have to keep these things in mind. Say we are designing, then some of the things that we would ask ourselves is, are we designing for print, or are we designing for screen? So screen includes a lot of stuff. So if at all we are designing something for screen, that goes for web. I want you to look at this. We have the resolutions, that is the quality of our digital design on screen or on paper. So we have this. So if we are talking of web, that is a screen. So it is going to be showed on phones, on televisions, on maybe laptops, desktops. So that is like, it is not going to be printed, but it is going to be appearing on screens. If you see this, these are the the dimensions, like the sizes, the height and width. Then here we have the resolution. This is 72. Are you seeing for web? I want you to look at this. For web, it has ppi. That are those are pixels per inch. Okay, so P is for pixels, another P is for per, then I is for inch. So that is like resolution. Okay, then if we happen to come here, this is more for mobile. So if we have this for mobile, okay, we also have this. Are you seeing? So film has the same resolution. So from here, Okay, let us go to art, because art, print, then also a photo that is basically to be printed also, it has the resolution. So if at all we are going to be making a design that is both to be printed and again to be what that is to be printed and again displayed on screen, if the website is not specific where you are going to be putting it, then it means we would go for the print what, the print resolution, because with the print resolution it is a little bit of good quality, so that if you print out something it has a great resolution. But if you do go with the screen resolution, that is a 72 here, so it basically means that your design is going to appear pixelated on a screen. Okay, so pixelation is the process by which our design loses quality. Okay, so it looks demolished, diminished, it looks a little bit, let me see if we have if we happen to like have a photo that I can play around with. So let us try to go to our desktop where we have I mean to our downloads where like we have different pictures. So we right click on this and click open. Okay, so I like showed you in the previous two videos how to download, how to go around if you're uploading anything to some of my platforms that I've happened to create that help creative people sell their digital content. So I think that would be of basically a higher advantage. So I want us to like open up this and you happen to see. So if I have, let me say, if I have a picture, because if we talk of Photoshop, the first thing you should know about Photoshop is, so if we are to talk about Photoshop, Photoshop is a raster based program. Raster based what? Raster based program. So you're like asking yourself, what do I mean if I call it a raster based program? What I'm trying to mean is with Photoshop, it basically deals with images. Okay, with images, then photos. So it is like the same thing. So you can say an image, you can say a photo, you can say a picture. Okay, and the other thing we can talk about is it is layer based. So most of the times for anything that you're working on has to be either by the use of layers most of the times. Okay, so that is why we call it layer based. Yes, Illustrator also has layers, but Photoshop works more with the layers. That is what you should try to like understand. Okay, so with anything to do with pictures, then it would be rather better to like work with Photoshop. Okay, because it is the professional software out there that you could consider using for editing what pictures, that is retouching, because Illustrator cannot retouch images to the fine way that Photoshop does. Okay, so you can try to play around with the picture in Illustrator, but you cannot like edit it. Okay, so besides that, we are going to come back here. So if I just want to customize everything without using these templates here, because if I'm like just starting up, it basically means that I should be able to like work, okay, walk around with these what with these templates. I mean I should be able to like work around with these different options that I happen to have here. So the first thing that I have to do here is to give it a name. Okay, so maybe you call it introduction. So that is my like what I have to like put there. Then most of the times when I'm dealing with creating something to be printed out, it would be better and easier to work with if I like put it in centimeters, because most of the times it is our clients that give us the measurements, unless it is for business cards, because those have a standard form that you have to like print them out or make them business cards and flyers, then plus posters, I think. Then the office work, I would just say that the office work, all of the office work, most of the times it has specific templates, let me say specific sizes. So if we are maybe offering an invoice, if at all we are offering a receipt, so they have different options that you would go for. Is it an A6, is it an A5, or an A4? So with that in our mind, at least we can try to play around with these different settings and we get to know what it basically means. Okay, so now after that, if I happen to come here, then before you could advance to any step as a designer, you should at least grasp one paper size that you should be knowing, no matter like whether you're coming from sleep or you're coming from any, like let's say you're coming from sleep or you're coming from maybe from a busy day or a relaxed mode. So you should be able to like recall as a graphics designer. So if like that would be an A4, so what is the size of an A4? You can visit Google and search, but for like specific, for like a quicker like design, I would say the size of an A4 is at 29, okay, 29.7 by what, by 21, okay, 0.0. Okay, then with this paper size, at least you can come up with all the other paper sizes that you feel like designing on by either multiplication or by division, because they have different procedures that you can go through. So besides that, here at this juncture where I'm like I have clicked, so we have the different options for the units. Okay, so with Photoshop, it isn't like Corel has, because there are a number of designing softwares that you can use, those that are basically based online and those that you can buy and own them on your computers. So we have different measuring units that you can use, that is with the centimeters, pixels, inches, millimeters, points, and picas. So with Illustrator, it also has almost the same with Photoshop, but with Corel, it has a number of measuring units that you can go for. Okay, so but besides that, we come back here. So we've seen the different what measuring units that we can go for. So if we come back here, we have page orientations. So page orientations are like landscape and portrait. So when do we have something in landscape? So this is landscape. So when do we have something in landscape? Let me see if this would help us try to explain that on that notepad. Okay, so if I try to get something that paints, okay, red paint drawing. So if, okay, so now if this is my page, let me get this. For me to have something in landscape, so what I would need to have is, if I have something like this, Ctrl Z, do with a shift, touch this and draw it again here. Ctrl Z. Ctrl Z. So okay, So if I get my eraser and try to remove this, so this is basically something in landscape. Okay, so for we to have something in landscape, so we are trying to like discover what page orientation means. So for we to have something in landscape, it basically means that the height, okay, let's try to do it here. It just means that the height, okay, the height is shorter than the what? The width. That is when we have something in landscape, or we can define it as when we have our page, okay, or our design having a landscape that is longer than the what? The height. So that is when we have a design in what? In portrait, in landscape. And if we want our design to like be in what? If we want our design to be in, if we want our design to be in portrait, because we have two page orientations, that is landscape and portrait. So if we want our whatever to be in portrait, that is it, that is a portrait. So a portrait does not mean that that is when you have your design or your drawing page having maybe a background that is in bra, because I find like where I happen to teach, I happen to see most of the students are doing what? Misunderstanding it. Like taking it in a way that portrait means when you have your design and its background is blurry, okay, or it is a little bit faded, you don't see it clearly, and like you have the picture or that drawing you have in front being totally clear and well seen. Not that, but what portrait means is basically you having a design whereby the height is longer than the what? The width. Remember the other side in landscape we had the width longer than the height, and now in portrait we have the we have the height being longer than the what? The width. So basically that is it, what you have to understand about the difference between having a design in portrait and that in what? In landscape. So if we do it automatically here, this is portrait, this is landscape. As you see, in the landscape we have the width longer than the what? The height. And here in the portrait design we have the height longer than the what? The width. Okay, so now if I want to have an artboard, there is a situation where you can untick it, but here we want to have the artboard, and in some other advanced versions you are able to like select, okay, how many artboards you want. So this is like where we are going to be designing our art, okay, that design that we are going to be making. So we click that, we need it, then we come here. So now here, that is when we talk of different resolutions, okay. So I said that Photoshop is a raster based what? Raster based program and a layer based program. So with the resolution, we mean the quality of a design on a digital on our that is the quality of our design on a digital screen. But what you should understand about resolution, the higher the resolution, the more the MBs of the design. That is why you find that on some websites they don't usually talk about resolution that make the design with a resolution of 72 maybe ppi, pixels per inch. No, what they usually say, we want your design not to exceed maybe 1 MB. So it basically means that your resolution should be totally low, but they want to keep the quality of the design. So it basically means you have to keep within 72 resolution. But besides that, putting that aside, the thing that you should grasp is that however much you're doing any design, what you should grasp in the head is, if at all you're designing something that is not to be printed, that is to be put on maybe different websites, Okay, so you have to keep it at 72 unless that website is a little bit maybe a website that distributes artists' music, maybe a website that is more specific of the resolutions it wants. But if not so, then we need not to exceed the 72 resolution if we are designing something that is basically not to be printed. So just guess, if you click on Amazon, I think most of you have at least used Amazon. Okay, so just imagine, let me try to visit it and you see Amazon. Okay, so if we visit Amazon, just imagine you were on Amazon. Okay, so you were on Amazon. Okay, so you were on Amazon and every picture here you see is approximately 1 GB or 2 GBs. Okay, you would have clicked on Amazon and it takes something like 30, maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes, depending. Even some would you would even go and take a shower before like Amazon loads up, because it has a number of pictures. Now to keep this a little bit faster, also the quality of the pictures or the MBs of the pictures that are basically uploaded on your design also matter. They have to be of a less number of MBs, so you have to keep that in mind. Okay, so besides that, let us put that aside. We'll go back to our display. Okay, so now that is what I had to say about resolution. The other way that I would happen to like try to explain to you the difference between Photoshop and the other designing softwares like Illustrator. Remember what we said, Photoshop is a layer based program and also deals with rasters, where we mean images like photos, images, pictures, you get. So now the difference between Photoshop with Illustrator is Photoshop works with rasters, photos, images and pictures among others, because it is like the same thing called different names. Then when it comes to Illustrator, it works with vectors, meaning I don't mean that if you edit vectors in Photoshop it is wrong. So you can find out a way or figure out a way you can work with Photoshop on vectors, but it would be better for you to do all that workload in Illustrator, because you have more options of twisting it and coming up with better designs if you're working with vectors than in Photoshop. Okay, same thing to pictures, so you can do something about them in Illustrator, but it would be better for you to use Photoshop because Photoshop was designed specifically for that. Okay, then besides that, after covering that, let us try to see the difference between a raster and a vector. A raster loses its resolution, okay, on scaling, but with a vector it basically does not lose its resolution. So if we go here on this picture, as I want to try to like explain that, are you seeing, the more I'm scaling this picture to come to the screen, are you seeing? So you can try it on your picture, because here I'm not using any software, I'm just scaling. So the more you scale a picture, you're going to reach an extent whereby you're going to see something like smaller boxes in your image, okay, as you see here. So are you seeing this? It like tries to fade, and you get, because it is a picture. So that is the difference between a vector and a raster. So rasters lose their resolution at scaling, whereas vectors do not lose their resolution. However much you scale it to infinity, it does not lose its resolution. Okay, so now from that, the other thing is we go back to our software. So do not forget to subscribe to my channel, that is MUCIAN Scripts, where I happen to share a lot of content about designing to see that we get to become better people and grateful people out there. So do not hesitate to contact me, and we work together on certain projects where it is possible. Okay, so now we've tried to understand that when we are designing, we keep different resolutions, okay, depending on why are we designing. When we are designing for print, the resolution has to be 300, so you change this to 300. Then what color mode? Because I'm going to be printing something, so I change this to another color. Okay, so I'm to change this to another color. So why do you think it is not changing? Because I believe this was selected, and so if I click that, I think so I just went back to recent. So if at all I'm still in web, so it means it is not going to be giving me other color options, because I'm already in web. I am already specific that I want a resolution of this kind. But if I'm in recent or saves, then I come, that is recent, not saves, and I come and click this. Okay, are you seeing? So it gives me different options. Okay, we have lab color, CMYK, where C stands for cyan, M stands for magenta, Y stands for yellow, K stands for black. Then red, that is RGB. The first color stands for red, the second one green, and the third one blue. Then we go to gray. This is a neutral like color. Okay, so it is like the shades of gray. So it is like the shades. Gray is black and white. Okay, so now we need just this. Okay, then after that we come to our background. Remember, we chose the artboard and we need a background. So with the background, we can choose from any of those colors. So we can choose from any of these colors. We can happen to choose white, black, background color. So let us try. Are you seeing? So white is already there, so we choose black. Are you seeing that? We can also choose background color. So if we choose background color, we can double click in the white and go here, then play around with any color. So there are some companies that are a little bit of specific with the colors they need, so we can change from here, use different color codes and get the exact color that is needed. So if we are using color codes, let me go here and maybe go to Google and say color code, color code for royal blue. So if I get this, let's say that is the color code, and I go to my Photoshop, and after this, clicking on this, how did we get this? So we came here to background content and we just chose black and double clicked in it. So now this color displays, but I'm more specific with my color code, so I put this, paste it there. Are you seeing that? Automatically it like sets everything. Then I press OK, then I click create. So that is how it like happens. Okay, so if I click back to new, okay, so if I call this introduction as I had called it, okay, and did set this to a 21 maybe 0.0, then here a 29.7, okay, then change this resolution to 300 CMYK bit. Then bit, this shows how like this like the strong, your colors are going to be sharp or separated. That is color separation. Now we come here to the colors. So if we come and click background color, then double click, paste our code, then press OK. Okay, so most of the times this is made white because we may play around with the different colors. So for all of those colors to be seen properly, it is rather better to keep it at white. Then so we ignore these for now, then we click create. So are you saying that? So we've formed a page in Photoshop that is a portrait page. Okay, so do not hesitate, please, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So let us continue from there in the next video. Okay, so do not go away, we are still watching fantastic videos from Munya Scripts Lifestyle. So do not hesitate, just subscribe. And if you have a shoot, if you have a movie that you want to like bring to life, get professional people and contact me so that we can happen to do what, to agree upon the prices and even schedule different dates. Okay, so these are my numbers on WhatsApp. You can reach out to me on these numbers. Then also for a call, you can also use these. Okay, so thank you for watching, thank you for having subscribed to my channel. So do not hesitate, okay, to like contact me and we do business. Thank you for watching. Let us meet in the next video.